it doesn't become as stupid as they think it is. Because agility is reactive. It's moving to a stimulus that is unpredictable.
Absolutely brilliant.
I always use that goal. I'm not an Arsenal fan. Who's coached that? Nicky, have you coached that? Yeah. Where did that come from?
Imagination.
Say again?
Imagination.
Imagination. I was talking to CJ about why I didn't use a clip from an NBA presentation. And I wanted to actually be very interesting because Kobe Bryant scores an amazing three-pointer. And the commentator says, and if you look on YouTube, says, that's not fair. That's just not fair. Because he was falling backwards, pressured, off balance, outside the three-point zone, got a shot away on half-time, 3 points. And the commentator says, it's just not fair. That's not fair, is it? Really? How can English players compete with that? That's just not fair. But he's not physiologically different. He's just been coached differently. He's had a different coaching environment. The story that I will relate, if that's okay, about the spaces, where Bergkamp, they've been shown 3 rectangles on the screen, so in different order there. And they said, what do you see? And 3 rectangles. And Bergkamp said, I see the spaces in between. So very, very different. And again, if you think about Southern Hemisphere rugby or Fijian rugby, they see the spaces, they see the doors, not the walls. If you look at the second one, I wish I could learn to do the lights on here, but our technician's not working for us.
Morgan on 41. Oh, what a trick. How do you describe
Look
it?
at the way they hit the ball.
He looks completely flummoxed. A shake of the head by England skipper. He doesn't know how Morgan's doing it. Unbelievable skill. To get that off the face of the bat, knowing that third man is up.
Again, that's just not fair. It really isn't fair. Certainly, the Irish playing cricket as well, which is really not fair, surely. So we want to know why some people are able to perform those skills without inhibition. I think the thing with Owen Morgan is the transferable skills from, I'll go to football, but Early. Okay, his hands are much, it's all about hockey as well as in the wrists, isn't it? So less about maybe a combination of footwork and hands. And guarantee that no one is taught him that. Look about games for understanding, which is very common in teaching. We use the phrase of games for understanding. So decision making. Are we allowing our athletes to make decision making a key component of our coaching sessions? Rather than use the word, if I use the word drill at Basingstoke when I coach on Tuesday and Thursday night, the players make me do 20 press-ups. If I use the word drill, so they tempt me by saying things like, well, use the DIY and so on and so forth. And they catch me out now and again. But I don't use the word drills. Drills refers to repetitive, constrained, organised, structured repetition of a skill to reinforce it. You might have that in swimming or in athletics where you need to reinforce a repetitive drill, which is a very conditioned exercise. In invasion games, that really has no place because we don't play the game like that. Games for understanding look at beyond replication techniques and skills into game-related activities, situational, which we come on in a second. Not as simple as that. We need to synchronise the challenge that we give people as being having parity with their cognitive ability and their physical ability. So we're not setting 6, 7, 8-year-old children to highly complex moves when they really haven't got that cognitive capacity, let alone the physical capacity. So it is actually very important that we do it in some kind of timeline along their mental and physical development. This is adapted from Wayne Smith, the New Zealand backs coach, who was highly regarded at Northampton Saints when he was there, and still highly regarded now as one of the top coaches in world-class sport, regardless of which sport you're in. And one of his phrases with the limitations of the coach be the limitations of the player. So I'm very limited. I'm not, I was not an international rugby player, but I try to make my limitations be the limitations of the guys that I coach. And we've all got great, we've just shown now, if we had a bit more time now to do various different things, you could draw a walk of art. If I went to Mason Art School once, and with a friend of mine, and we went into this sort of foyer area where students sit and draw, and these were art students doing a degree, and they were drawing a tree. Well, it was incredible what different pictures they would come up with. They were very basic, they were highly articulate, there was a whole range of them. They were using their imagination. What I just suggest is that don't let limitations of the coach, the teacher, the one who is restricting them, doesn't trust them, and is scared of it, to be the limitations of those people who you're developing. Because we all coach people, we coach them to our limits. But try to think about how we can push those boundaries. Because if I can be creative, and you can be creative as a player, then what a wonderful combination that is. I can set a really creative, interesting learning environment for you, and give you that freedom of expression to challenge yourself without those constraints. The same thing, we can't name 5 English players for the last 30 years who played in our national game. We can't name them. We name Paul Gascoigne. My students now, who are of an era, who never saw Gascoigne play. The names they produce are not of English players. So something is going wrong in our national sport. Okay, thought, creativity and learning arise from a range of experiences. If you're interested in music and travel, you've heard lots of different music in lots of different countries, it's no different. We build up a resource bank of music, we build a resource bank of our travel experiences, we build up a resource bank of our playing experiences. I'll talk about chaos theory. Competition is a chaotic place, but it's reflected in the coaching environment. So, when we talk about chaos, and we hear about organised chaos, invasion game sports involve hundreds of patterns, unpredictable movements. If you're Andy Murray and you're facing a serve from Andy Murray, you've got 0.2 of a second to make a decision of where to hit that ball. There's very, very little decision-making time. Exactly the same in invasion game sports. The arena changes constantly. Players are finding space, moving. Basketball is a great example. 5-on-5, highly interactive. Netball the same. Fast movement patterns. And we need to reflect that on our coaching. And if we trust ourselves, it will work. But I was talking to a colleague, Helen, today about this, and there's a start-off, first of all, where we try to teach as our example, and athletics has been one which has received some criticism unfairly, is that cycling was allowed to kind of slip under the radar, because no one was really interested in it. They weren't really that bothered with it, The people knew Chris Paul in 92, and that was it. It was allowed the time to invest because there wasn't the media pressure. If we didn't win at the World Championships or win the Olympics, no one really cared. But now they care. But Cavendish was part of a 10-year plan. They knew 10 years ago. He said, I want to win the World Championships. They couldn't invest in. They would have a world champion. If you're a football manager that's got a turnover of hundreds of millions of pounds, and you're not in the Champions League by Christmas, which is costing this much money, then as an owner, as a supporter, and the media, those things conspire you too much in the spotlight.
But I mean, the other thing about British cycling is it went bust. It went completely bust. The whole governing body just fell apart, and they started the whole thing again from scratch about the same time as Peter King got there, and so it was building
Parents, by amateurs, by less experienced coaches. And I think that one of the problems that we suffer from is that, talking about continuing professional development, are we able to engage those people? I was doing some things right, some things I could do better, just for the investment of that money. I've used this to finish with. I saw this today. I wanted to finish on something that was short and sharp, and this is quite incredible. I think Helen can really enjoy this.
The 2 or 3 mistakes that he certainly won't be happy with. And if that is the cardinal error, you concede 3 points, you must get the ball at least 10 metres.
Scrummage again, dribble back on the tight head side. Will Green feeling the heat by O'Driscoll. All class by O'Driscoll, and good cover by Bartholomew and Tommy Bowe. But what about that? That was sensational, and that's why he's probably the best centre in the world.
No, I've never